My face currently feels like I've been run through by Tom Stewart.
Puts it to the top of the square. Oh, beautiful little fist in there by Dale. Crucial centimetre moments.
He definitely has a bit of the Belcho spirit. As I have a bit of the Belcho spirit.
Hello everyone and welcome to The Back Pocket, the only podcast who thinks it's normal to piss in sinks regularly. My name is Alistair.
I think it's normal to get the aeroplane attendant to fish my shit out of the sink also.
And I'm joined by Jack. Like I said, this is The Back
intro.
Pocket.
Okay. Welcome to The Back Pocket.
Context, Fremantle had a poor flight home.
Well, if chartered flights are that bad, maybe Virgin business class doesn't sound so bad after all.
I do not condone the pissing in sinks.
Look, every local footy player's pissed at a sink or two. The pipes all lead to the same place. And on a plane, I guess they probably even more so lead to the same place.
I mean, I've been in an airplane bathroom. People miss. People miss.
Anyway, if you've tuned it before...
you've heard much better intros.
And you know how this voting works. And if you don't, here they go. 5 through to 1 votes. The best offenders of the week. Take us away, Alistair.
I did the intro.
Oh, you did the intro. Take us away, me. My 1 vote this week is to Carl Amon.
Oh, yeah?
He, Jesus Christ, to my knowledge, didn't have to piss in any sinks. He was in Tasmania, though, and it was from that game. He had 21 disposals at 90, 4 of those were intercepts, 3 contested. He had 5 marks, 1 intercept, 1 spoil. That spoil was from his only contested defensive one-on-one of the game, which he won.
Oh, yeah.
8 rebounds, 5 defensive half-pressure acts, and 628 metres gained. 6 score involvements, 1 of them was a launch. He only had 2 inside 50s, and they were both direct goal assists. And he got 4 coaches' votes. He was pretty good. He's having a really good year, Carl Amon. He's kind of playing that role that Day was at the first half of last year for Hawthorn. Now that Day is just their main mid.
I think Amon's always been a little underrated. His disposal's been iffy, which why going at 90 is good. And we enjoyed watching him do his quad double at Port. Yep. So, makes sense to me.
Who was your one?
My 1 vote goes to a St Kilda player in a 5-goal loss where they only scored 5 goals.
Yep.
Josh Battle.
Josh Battle.
1 vote
in my
from me.
special mentions, he was very good. His value is increasing by the week.
In a game where the highest rating player had 15 rating points, he had a pretty high 13 for the game. 21 disposals, 10 intercepts, no losses, 9 spoils. It's pretty good stats. Yeah. Obviously they lost.
Bad game of football.
Yeah, but he was good.
I actually did think Josh Battle was good in that game, but boy, it was hard to watch. My 2 was to Lawson Humphries, special mention previously, but he was actually really good.
Oh, I've forgotten someone. I've done it again.
He's done it again.
Not Lawson Humphries either. Who's in my special mentions?
23 disposals at 96%.
Yeah.
6 of those were intercepts, 4 contested. He had a game-high 13 marks, 2 of which were intercepts, or a few of them were loose, so that's not my main reason. But he had 3 rebounds, 343 metres gained, 4 score involvements and 1 launch. But I think more importantly, he's been the main cog that's allowed Stewart to be freer up the ground. Duncan's playing that swapping role, but Humphries is that one who can now just stay in that back line and play the wing role. So
Humphries looks good, and it's getting to the point where people might need to put some attention on him, which, coming into the Dogs, they might do that. So it'll be interesting.
Anyway, that was my 2. Who's your 2?
My 2 is a Hawk as well.
Oh, yes.
Similar to your 1. It's Jack Scrimshaw, who is becoming a weird podcast favourite. He also had 13.2 ranking points, same as Josh Battle, which I thought was strange.
Yep.
Just had to mention it. 13 kicks, 324 metres gained, 5 intercepts, 2 rebound 50s, but he is a huge part of the reason Sicily's able to go up forward and kick those match-winning goals.
Yes.
So without Scrimshaw being able to hold up down back, they don't win that game. That's how I'm putting it, and that's why he gets 2.
Yep. He is having a really good year. We've always known the talent he's got. I think a lot of people were lamenting Hawthorn getting him basically for free when they did, but he just didn't come on as quickly. But
No, it took a while.
he's having a really good year this year, so I can't begrudge you that one. My 3 this week was to Ben Mackay.
Same.
He went at 100%, which is usually our biggest critique of him when he has a horrible turnover in the back line.
Tell me how many intercepts he had.
He had 17 intercepts, which is mental. He also had 11 of those disposals were contested. 7 marks, all intercepts. 3 contested marks, 3 spoils, 2 rebounds, 3 of 4 one-on-ones. That ball was coming in there too. 9 defensive half pressure acts, 1 score over 1 launch. 18.6 rating points, the only one I've written down for this weekend, and that was his second career best rating points game.
Interesting.
The best one was early this year against Port.
He must have lost some for when he pretended to take that mark right at the end and got caught holding the ball.
Oh, that was odd. Very odd, actually. Yeah.
But yeah, really good game from him, actually. So
yeah, I feel like it wouldn't have been as close as it was without him actually stopping the ball from going through the goals every time.
And they had that last minute burst. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah. So my 4, I guess.
Your 4, yeah.
Is to Sam Collins.
Same. This is so easy.
Amazing. He gave Dixon an absolute bath.
It's rough because Dixon is far past his prime.
Yeah.
But he got
he monstered
him.
He had 15 at 87%.
Yep.
9 of those were intercepts, 6 contested, 9 marks, 5 intercepts, 1 contested, 8 spoils, won 4 out of 5 one-on-ones, had 4 pressure acts, 2 tackles as well for the big man, 3 score involvements, all launches.
He had 11 1%ers as well alongside those spoils.
So yeah, add the extra pressure acts in. Hell yeah, Sam Collins. He's really good, and they're good at home.
Yes, that's it.
Is it?
We'll talk about that later, I guess. Maybe, I don't know.
And my 5,
which may be the player I forgot. Who's your 5?
Judd McVie.
Yeah, I forgot Judd McVie.
You forgot Judd McVie.
Yep.
He was awesome.
Yep.
9 coaches' votes for his efforts. 23 disposals, 15 intercepts, 11 contested, 5 marks, 4 intercepts, 1 contested, 4 spoils, 3 rebounds, and 4 defensive half pressure acts. More importantly, he stopped them. He was playing such a peel-off role, and anytime it looked like Essendon had one out, he just kind of got in front of that contest. Judd McVie, best game he's played in his career.
And he's just he came out of nowhere. He just played like almost every game last year, and we were just all accepted it. We were just like, yeah, that's fine.
And he's had a good year this year.
Yeah.
That was by far his best game.
Yeah, I just looked down. I've got like a list of like my scratch notes, and McVee's name is right there at the top. And then I've looked up at my proper notes, and I've just forgotten to fill him in. So I probably Josh Battle doesn't get a vote this week normally, but I've written it down. He's getting his vote, so it doesn't matter. My 5 goes to Bailey Dale. From the
he
Bulldogs.
cut them apart, didn't he? Especially in that first half.
Yeah. They put their tag to him after that. So 19.3 ranking points, 31 disposals, 638 metres gained, 7 intercepts, 6 score involvements, alongside 8 rebound 50s. Huge. Smashed him. Destroyed him.
It's amazing to think that he wasn't in the best 22 at the start of the year. Anyway, he's been.
Well, he's better now because Bevo dropped in. Jack, what are you talking about?
That's right. Yeah, they went back to the 2s and they got better. Nothing to do with the fact that Bailey Dale is just good.
Smashed it, and he probably I probably would have moved my votes all down one, but it is what it is.
I had a few special mentions this week, so I'll run through them quickly. There's plenty. Heath Chapman, Stephen May, Jacob Wiedering in his first half, Lob, Murray, Connor Iden, Zach Guthrie, Nick Blakey, Will Powell, Aaliyah, Brady Hoff, and Lockie Cowan.
Whitfield as well. Yep. Did you say Powell?
I did.
Yeah, that's all of them.
Really good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Houston?
I did say Houston.
Yeah, that's all of them. Sweet, that's the end of my notes. You're in charge now.
Covered. Quick thoughts on the weekend's games.
Oh, I don't know what
Geelong
happened.
Collingwood.
We're recording this so far away from that game.
I know, it's been a while.
I don't even remember what happened. I'm glad Collingwood lost, lol.
Chris Scott's good at coaching.
Yeah, I think so.
Again, completely changed the game
I don't
plan.
think he stopped being good at coaching.
Well, yeah, I mean, just again this week. Completely adjusted the game plan to cope for Collingwood's pressure game. Just played uncontested, loose football and was able to outrun them with it. So, credit where it's due. Hawthorn Freo.
Yeah, obviously Hawthorn are pretty good down in Tassie, but I think we all saw this win coming, right? Yeah. We looked at it on the calendar and went, this is the game Freo drops.
I saw someone say that there's nothing worse in the last 5 years since Hawthorn haven't been as good. Nothing worse for a team that looks like they're going to make the top 4 for the first time in a while than playing the Hawks in Tassie. And
side note, I know it's not related to this game, but is Draper the one you kick out for Pierce? Come on. It's been a shining light down there.
Yeah, well, that's what they did last time too.
Anyway.
Sean Darcy is badly missed, was my other comment on that game. Luke Meek bullied Luke Jackson.
Yeah.
Sydney North.
Yeah, that was a game.
Swans good, North bad. Bulldogs Carlton.
Yeah, I think it was lost at coaching.
Selection table.
Yeah.
I think my note was, will the real Bulldogs please stand up? Because they have gone basically win-loss all year. And their wins look really good and their losses look
really
quite bad. The only they've had 2 losses where they looked good against Sydney and Geelong. Outside of that, their losses have looked atrocious.
Yep. That loss to Port was almost right off levels, and they win this, and you're like, what are you doing, Bulldogs?
Yep.
Anyway.
Adelaide St Kilda.
Next.
Unwatchable. Melbourne Essendon.
That was also pretty bad to watch.
Yes, it was. Melbourne back? Maybe.
I think Melbourne put the game to their level and Essendon couldn't cope with it.
The rain changed it, I think. As soon as it got wet, Melbourne just kept playing intercept sloppy football, and Essendon tried to run, and it just didn't work. Gold Coast Port.
Gold Coast good at home.
The home and away train keeps on rolling. And I think it will continue this week when they play GWS at NG. Richmond GWS.
Closer than it should have been.
Also almost unwatchable. Presti is good. West Coast Brisbane. Talk about closer than it should have been.
I thought West Coast were actually pretty good.
Dead cat bounce, almost.
Yeah, well, they're threatening, but
Simo's coin toss funny.
very funny. Lockie Neal wants his Brownlow. Wants his third
doesn't
Brownlow.
he? Yeah, he's storming home.
Yep.
Actually,
All three of the, Dacos notwithstanding, but Bont, Cripps, and Neal are all doing everything they can to get their name on that medal. So it's actually quite fun to watch that. The games they're playing in, less watchable. Football's just really hard to watch at the moment.
Sam Doherty.
Huh?
Chance to play finals, they reckon.
I don't think he played this round. What's this got to do with the... I don't want to talk about that because he's not going to play finals.
Max Gawn, a chance to play next week, they reckon.
Why are teams not conservative with injuries?
They've named Tom Fullerton this week. Extended bench.
Well, I mean, they won with Harrison Petty in the ruck, so...
They won after they moved Harrison Petty out of the ruck. Yeah, anyway, that was something. Yeah, I actually have a audio. You may have heard this.
Huh?
I have an audio to play you. You may have heard it. I don't know if you have, but I want you to appreciate it because it's quite funny. All right, when you're ready.
Is it just Clarko likes in the box?
Have actually got rid of racial discrimination. They've got rid of homophobic slurs. They've got rid of women's prejudices. They need to look at Collingwood umpiring.
That guy called up Dwayne the other day. There's a whole minute before that where he goes over it, and he basically says that everyone in Australia grows up hating Collingwood, and therefore all umpires are biased against Collingwood. And compared it to homophobia, racism and sexism. He thinks that umpires are racist against Collingwood. And that was his take. Jeff from Mount Martha. Not only do I think that it's amazing that he thinks that, because statistically 1 in 10 umpires should be a Collingwood fan, but I also think it's very bold to state that we have got rid of any of those other forms. We just saw a 10 slur guy on the weekend. I don't think that one's gone.
He got his 10 slur combo, so you get a prize for that.
I don't think we've gotten rid of racism from the game.
Racism, but definitely racial discrimination, Jack. That's gone.
Gone. Oh, yeah, totally gone. Anyway,
what are they smoking up in Mount Martha?
Good old Jeff. He,
I just called him Tom. Thanks for your call, Jeff.
I also would like to,
why did they let him through?
I'd like to refer Jeff to the whole season and a half where Collingwood players were just tackling each other at the end of games constantly. I guess they had that 1 in 10 Collingwood umpire for those games. Anyway,
I don't really know what the free kick count is to Collingwood, but
they're in the positives.
Yeah, I don't think they're
top 5.
Yeah, they're not. They're not at the bottom. They're not Richmond.
All right, I have a question. This is a question that we were tagged in on Twitter, and I answered it for me, but not for you because you were asleep. You're in charge of Carlton. All lists are starting again, and you get first dibs on 1 Carlton player and 1 other player in the comp to start your list with. Who do you pick?
1 Carlton player, and I'm starting from scratch, trying to win a flag this year or long term?
I mean, that's up to you, but probably this year, right?
Trying to win a flag this year. I think I picked Tom de Koning as the Carlton and play him full ruck, no forward. He is the ruck. And then I probably pick Goulden.
Yeah, okay, so I went... let me find it, because I said what your options, what you would say would be. With a couple, I put 3 and 3 for what you would pick for Carlton and other. I said Jeremy Cameron and Goulden for Geelong. And I'm pretty sure I said for you Cripps /Walsh /de Koning and Bont /Goulden. So
those were all the names I was tossing up?
Yep.
I thought if I was going for a flag this year, Cripps is probably the safest bet, but de Koning is the one I would want.
Yes.
Walsh doesn't seem to be in the best of form in the last couple of weeks and seems to be easily tagged. So that was an easy choice there. I literally was about to say Bont, and I went, no, Goulden. The score involvements from Goulden would be way too high.
That was me sitting there. I went...
And if I was picking Geelong, I'd pick Myers. I wouldn't pick Cameron.
Goulden.
Myers could turn Richmond's forward line into a goal.
Oh, no, I didn't even say Cripps. I said Walsh, TDK, Curnow plus Goulden/Bont. So...
I'd pick Myers if I was picking for Geelong.
Yeah, that's fair. Unique player.
Myers and Goulden score involvements
That would
into
be
the
crazy.
inside 50.
That would be crazy.
Jesus.
So, I did some stats. So, shout out to Tim, if you're listening. You helped me with 2 of these.
Almost doxed him. Last name.
Shout out to Polly on Twitter for helping me with one of the other ones. The other ones I managed to find myself. I trawled through AFL highlights to sort all this out. But I ran all of the rough conduct charges this year to see which ones were and weren't dangerous tackles. So, like, while I don't agree with the suspensions that were put in this week, I thought the 3 weeks was insane for those as a punishment for starters. I have more of an issue with the inconsistent nature of the MRO grading matrix than I do with the dangerous tackles thing, because I hear a lot of tackling is dead chat. And if I were to ask you for a number of what percentage of the total tackles this year have been deemed dangerous enough to penalise outside of just a free kick on the spot, what would you reckon it would be?
12.
Less than 0.1% of all. Yeah, less than 0.1% of all tackles this year. So less than
how many is that?
0.05% have been suspensions.
Yeah, and that's not including the ones that don't get counted as tackles.
That's correct. So yeah. So the rough conduct charges are head and shoulder. That's why I looked through them.
Yeah.
What head and shoulders. So there have been a total of now 7 suspensions.
Uh-huh.
Now that Bedford and Cameron have been overturned, a total of 19 charges.
Okay.
And a total of 16 penalties.
All right, so it's actually higher than I thought.
But like, there's still like a lot of those were just fines, and that's still not like there've been over 18,000 tackles laid this year, and less than 20 have been deemed dangerous enough to penalise after the game in the first act. Of even better, and this is my favourite part of it, of the top 50 tacklers in the AFL, now that Bedford's been overturned, not one of them have been charged with a dangerous tackle. The people that tackle the most. Of the top 50 average, it's just Libba. So, like, maybe it's a little bit of a technique problem.
My first thing I want to say about this is, when I go to work, I don't have time to do anything. I'm going all day. And you're in your little office job, tapping away on your computer.
I was late back from work yesterday.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure you did none of it in work hours.
Well, I watched the KOs in work hours on a little screen.
Anyway, this is an outrageous thing that you've pulled up, but I don't think... people who say the tackle are dead are just wanting to click on outrage. It's those people who tag their friends onto the Facebook video and go, ugh, what is this? Tackle's dead. The game's over.
Yeah.
And then they watch the next week. They're just outraged. Everyone wants to be outraged.
I think the bigger problem is that like the grading matrix is currently working backwards from a concussion and not forwards to. So like I think that the punishment should still be like outcome based, but that should be the last step. The first step should be
at the
was it
end.
an illegal action?
Okay, we go through that, and then the last thing is, okay, you've dangerously tackled someone, and we think that's worth a week. Oh, last grading. Were they concussed? Yes. You get an extra week.
And that turns it up.
Were they concussed? No. Stays at 1 week.
Yeah. We just need to determine what a dangerous tackle is so the players understand that, and also so that the tribunal understands that.
I don't think the umpire or tribunals know what a dangerous tackle is.
No, that's what I mean. They need to define it because they haven't.
The Duggan one, and this is something I did want to bring up, I'm sick of victim blaming in the AFL.
Yes.
The person tackling has the duty of care. The person who is going back with the flight does not have duty of care. Stuff like that. They're so quick to blame the person that gets injured or hurt or concussed to justify a footy action. And I did quotation marks there.
I wrote so that we're not penalising football acts quotations on here as well. So.
And that's a problem that I think fans and commentators just aren't ready to get over for some reason. They talk about duty of care, and then they're like, "Oh, but why isn't the other player giving their duty of care?" I do
think going back with the flight is one that you can't just punish someone for running into someone who's gone back with the flight if they are just going for the ball and they've run back into them. So there's different cases of it.
Well, without getting specific, if you turn and put your shoulder into someone...
That's totally different. I more mean like if someone, like the ball is coming to someone and someone's going back with the flight into them,
Yes.
a la Mitch Lewis and Cole Dashny a couple weeks ago, which
Different.
wasn't penalised, obviously.
Different.
Like, those we can't penalise, because, like, that's just someone being
But I
crazy
do,
brave.
But I'm
or
sure
stupid.
someone would have been like, oh, Mitch Lewis is the one at fault here, rah, rah, rah. So, like, anyway.
Yeah.
Fans are crazy. Tribunal's wrong all the time.
Yeah. But they need to overhaul the system over the summer.
And yet everyone will come back and watch football next week.
Of course they will. And the best thing for the AFL was there was so much tribunal stuff on, no one could talk about State of Origin. They owned the airwaves this week.
My mum didn't text me saying Blues won, congrats.
No. That's right. My highlight of actually the tribunal chat was the Gold Coast one. When the AFL stated to Davies that he didn't have to turn his body the way he did. He said, I disagree. Am I supposed to just run into him? Which is really funny to me because he's right. Like, if he also ran head first, then they're both concussed.
I don't really understand who's on the tribunal, but I feel like they don't understand how motion works. These incidents are happening in split seconds.
And then they slow them down.
They say you should have let go of one arm and turned yourself 50 degrees to the right, and you're like, that's not happening.
The arms
at that
hinge
speed.
definition's a crazy one to me because, like, if players are holding the ball where they normally hold the football when they're running, and you tackle someone,
Their arms
you
are
have to
pinned.
tackle their arms. Like, unless they've got an arm above their head, or you're, like, sneaking your hands in between their elbows, it's very hard to not tackle a player's arms.
So a lot of people saying the rundown tackle is going to be dead after this week. Don't tackle their head into the ground. You can run down tackle
I saw the
someone and
Bedford
still
one,
turn
and I
them.
thought that was a week immediately. I said it to you straight away. I didn't think the Charlie Cameron one was because it was just, like, they went forward together. Whereas the Bedford one just looked like a dangerous tackle. I thought that's a week. 3 was mental because it wasn't 2 motions, but
I'm sick of how much we talk about the tribunal on here.
yeah, well, it's everyone, isn't it? What's your game of the week for next week? Because I think it's Hawthorn Collingwood. Or Brisbane Sydney, actually, is probably the real game.
Can I say the one that interests me the most? West Coast St Kilda. I think West Coast can do it even though it's away.
So they've dropped Ari Shawmakers?
I think he's extended... No, it's not extended bench. He's dropped. Anyway, I think without Windhager, they could get off. They could get off against them.
No Yo?
No Yo is unfortunate, and there's also no Waterman, so maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. But that's one I could see.
I would love to see it. And obviously West Coast, had they not let it get away from the last quarter last time, probably should have beaten St
Game
Kilda.
of the round is very clearly Brisbane Sydney. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's Brisbane Sydney. That's what I said. Hawthorn Collingwood, Brisbane Sydney.
You didn't say that.
I can't go back to the audio while we're doing it, but I
do
did.
it.
Also, Essendon Adelaide's interesting.
It is, but no
They
Tex
dropped,
Walker.
No Tex Walker. And
Omitted.
they dropped Peter Wright, which is probably good for the way he's been playing. I saw
But they're doing 2 rucks again, which means Draper plays up forward.
it's just typical Kane Corns trying to outrage people today, but he posted an article of, like,
Why do you
what
read his
star needs to lift the most for each team as we head into finals. And the one he put for Carlton was Curnow, who is leading the Coleman medal by 4 goals. He's currently averaging the most score involvements he has in his career, the second best rating points he has in his career, and Carlton are the second top scoring team and the top scoring team per inside 50 in the AFL. I don't think Curnow is remotely the problem. I think Chera is part of the problem. I think the midfield pressure is the problem. They leak score from stoppage. I think that having any of the forwards in there is nothing but outrage bait.
Yeah. I think I've seen it across the league in regards to Curnow. One, he's still four clear in the Coleman, and he's averaging more goals this year than he has in his entire career.
And the other part for me is that he, like, whatever other figure people want to cite, or contested marks and marks inside 50, he's being targeted less because Mackay's in much better form.
Yeah.
He is
Mackay's
winning
4th in the Coleman.
He is winning more one-on-ones percentage-wise than he was last year. He is winning less one-on-ones because they are being shared. The forward line is structurally working.
It's better.
So it's such a stupid thing to bring up. But also he, like, ran the people for each club was
Sure, Darcy Moore.
Ollie Henry was Geelong's and not Jack Henry, the one that should have been Geelong's. Like,
Yeah.
Ollie Henry missed a couple of games through injury, came on for a quarter and kicked 2 goals last week. Like, it's not
2 goals a week's not enough for
not enough for Kane.
Corns.
Yeah, well, for 3 a week is not enough apparently. Hayden McLean wasn't Sydney's. I think he's clearly their weakest link at the moment.
That's rough.
They don't have many weak links.
Did he miss 2 goals?
No, that's not Hayden McLean.
Oh, you're right. Same guy.
Hayden McLean got subbed off last week.
Hayden McLean's the forward ruck.
Yeah, he's averaging 1 goal a
What's the name of
game.
the other fucker?
Logan McDonald.
Logan McDonald. Mick.
I know. Yeah, I know.
McMouse.
McMouse. Anyway, Hayden McLean's only averaging a goal a week as a key forward in the highest scoring team in the comp.
Yeah, but I thought he had a...
Most of Amadi's goals came in 2 games.
1 game.
Like he's had a 9 and a 4. So like I feel like McLean needs to be, as a 25-year-old key forward in the best team in the comp, probably should be kicking more goals.
But he's the ruck forward.
But he's mostly forward.
Yeah.
Grundy is rucking 90% of the time.
I wouldn't say 90, but sure.
Yeah. I just think that if there was anyone...
Who in that team is rucking if he's not there? McDonald?
Amadi.
All right.
Amadi party all around the ground. They subbed him off last week. They can totally do it without
Check
him.
him on the wing.
Amadi at fullback, that'd be terrible. Don't do that. Anyway, I think that's... I spent so long on my dangerous tackles thing. It was so hard to put together. I even went through...
You got paid for every minute of
previous years of how many tackles have been laid. And I wonder if the secret to beating 2000 Essendon was just to fucking tackle them.
Why?
The AFL league average that year was 32 tackles a game.
That's not many.
A team. We're currently at 60. A few years back, we were almost at 70.
Yeah.
That year, just 32. We didn't reach...
They were too fast. You couldn't tackle them.
Couldn't tackle them. Couldn't tackle Brisbane. Once Geelong started playing, teams were like, maybe we should tackle. And then, through the Collingwood good era, 70 tackles a year they averaged in 2011. But through this...
Because there was no cap on rotations.
Through this era, it's been in the 60s, roughly. Which is more than any point in AFL history, which is probably why we're seeing more dangerous tackles.
When did they bring in the rotation cap?
That was 2010s, wasn't it?
Was it like 20... I'm going to look it up because...
Early 2010s.
I'm interested to see if there is a drop between them adding that, because part of that Collingwood era was just rotating like crazy.
Mad. Yeah, because in 2011, 10 and 11 were the 2 highest years for tackle numbers in history. At basically 70 a game per team.
It was entered in 2013.
Yeah, so basically
Oh, hold on.
It was adjusted, wasn't it?
That's forced concussion. Hold on.
But yeah, 2012 it was down at 63, and then it's been around there most of the time. So, but yeah, it's a huge jump. It went from 2005 at 45 up to 2011 at 70. But more to my point is, if there's more tackles, there's more dangerous tackles, right? Like if we were only seeing 30 tackles a game, we'd be seeing far less dangerous tackles as well.
2014 was 120 interchanges per game, and it has dropped down to 75 since then.
Yeah, which is insane. Also, put it back up. I'm pro interchange. Do what you want.
2 years after they changed it to 90, and then 5 years later they changed to 75. So what was the tackle count in 2013?
In 2013...
Do you still have it up?
Mm-hmm. 2013, there was 63 a game, which is only slightly more than now.
And 2014?
66.
Oh, it went up. Never mind.
66, 65, 69, 68, 64, 62.
All right.
I don't know if there's any asterisk around these either as to whether the way tackles were captured was changed as well. Because now it has to actually impede the disposal. There was some that were really interesting that I was looking at when I was trying to find whether things were dangerous tackles or not. Where I'd look at someone, I'd be like, was that a tackle? Like, someone would maybe just get a hand on someone, but because the person who they got a hand on kicked a point, not a goal, they're like, maybe it impeded the kick. So, maybe we are just capturing more tackles than we were for a while there as well.
Do you think it's interesting that we haven't had as many head counts as do you think there might be? Surely a team...
Has accidentally put someone on?
Or team...
But there's interchange stewards, though, for both teams. There's 2 people sitting at the bench watching it happen.
There's been 3 head counts in the history of the VFL, AFL, all unsuccessful. The most recent one was 1999. Guy McKenna against St Kilda. But
interesting.
Do you get penalised if the head count fails?
Yeah.
Is it just I
don't know what it is.
Is it a free kick to the other team? Because you've impeded the game.
Yeah, I know there is a penalty, but I'm not sure what the penalty is. Just for reference, Sam Collins, I think, has moved into the lead.
Excellent.
He is now on 31 votes, 2 ahead of Jacob Wettering.
Close at the top. Sam Collins has always been a favourite of ours, so that makes sense.
He has, and he's also probably having a career best season, and, well, a career best because Gold Coast are winning.
Yeah, we've been amping him up for 3 years. So.
He is a chance of a All-Australian spot this year, thanks in part to Pearce getting injured for a bit.
If both teams have the correct number of players, a free kick and a 50-metre penalty are paid against the captain who initiated the head count. That captain may also be reported for time wasting and ordered off.
Oh my god.
I didn't know you could do that in AFL.
Me neither. Maybe that's why no captains call for a head count.
Up to 2018, the penalty for having too many players was the cancellation of the entire score.
Yeah, I knew that the team with too many players score would be written off completely for a while. But I feel like it's not relevant at AFL level because they have the interchange stewards, right?
Yeah, and they call those free kicks like that North Sydney one.
Straight away.
We watched that the other day. Did you see Buddy celebrating that shit so hard?
funny.
Celebrated more than he won a grand final.
It was so odd. RIP. Was that when Ratton took over and they almost won?
Maybe, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Who knows who's coaching North at any given point in
At
time?
any given point. Was it Lee Adams? Not that game, but at some point in time it was. Yeah.
What else you got for me?
Oh, that's it. I'm podcasted away.
The only other thing I can think of is, did you read any of that Hawthorn stuff about the coach change? There's a big story about it.
Yeah.
A bunch of the details came out about the succession plan for Mitchell from Clarkson to Mitchell.
Mm-hmm.
Allegedly, there was one point where Clarkson walked into the room with the CEO and whatever, and he said, "Lads, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I'm going to have to finish up soon." And apparently, a couple of hours later, he came back and was like, "Nah, actually, I thought about it a bit. I'm good."
I'm joking.
That's what I heard.
That's insane.
Because could you imagine having faith in them coaching your club after that happened? They're probably sitting there going, "Fuck, we got to figure something out now. Do we pull the trigger now, or do we do it later?" And he comes back, he's like, "Hey lads, I'm good."
No wonder they fucking effectively launched a coup against him to get Mitchell in.
The other part of that is Graham Wright went to Collingwood, and apparently the first on his coaching ranks was to get Sam Mitchell, which forced Hawthorn to go, shit, we've got to move now.
That's what people have been discussing about the
Dean Cox.
Dean Cox, but
Horse is not leaving.
No.
And I'd say they're more likely to get Dean Cox than not, because being the assistant forever, Horse could coach for years and years to come.
Especially if he just keeps being good at Sydney.
And by the time Dean Cox gets that team, it might be right back down, which would be horrible. So, might as well start and mould your own. But hey, it could be anyone.
It could be anyone. Again, you've said it before. You're better off not picking a hometown hero.
I agree. And unfortunately, their top three candidates
are all hometown heroes. And maybe that's because no one else wants to live in Perth.
I think they should target Buckley.
Yeah, Buckley's been very professionally answering questions about it in the last few weeks. I'll answer a call from anyone. I have my phone screened.
They will,
which is funny because I guarantee he definitely has a few journalists blocked.
I did watch
Sam McClure.
I did watch the highlight of Clarko having to go at Robbo from all those years back. And my favourite part is when the camera pans back to Robbo and he's wearing cargo shorts and a colourful t-shirt and he can't open the door.
I did think it was a little ironic of Robbo to be calling out the West Australian's front page with some of the back pages that he's posted in his time. Obviously it was a very bad taste front page. But
throwing stones,
come on, Robbo. A few of my favourite moments, the one, the Jack Rewalt one's also really good, where he jumped the turnstiles to get away from the media.
Oh, yeah, that's funny. Did he jump the fence?
And the Damien Drum one, when he didn't know he'd been sacked yet.
That hurts me to watch every time.
It's an all-timer.
He's like, I didn't know that.
He laughed at first. He's like,
is that true?
Oh, poor Damien Drum. Freo treated their coaches very badly over the years.
Yeah. Harvey got fucking stabbed.
And the West also went at Ross Lyon when Freo sacked him. It was in need of new coach if they can teach players to kick and handball would be ideal. So like, Ross didn't exactly get a friendly send-off, nor did he maybe deserve one after that Christmas party.
A few too many eggnogs for the old boss.
Anyway, that's all I've got brain for this week. It's been a hectic week in
too much going on.
Anyway,
that's why the podcast's late.
I hope you all get your tax back and that your teams win, which is statistically unlikely unless you all follow.
Hold on a minute. Depending on how many listeners we have and who they support, it is possible.
I know we have Adelaide and Essendon listeners, so that's already ruined, and Bulldogs and Geelong listeners. So I don't think we have any North listeners. So,
but I don't listen to the podcast.
That's
so.
true. Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah, we got Collingwood and Hawthorn. No, we can't do it. Doesn't work. Sorry, guys.
What we're saying is stop listening to the podcast so we can be a statistical anomaly.
I hope West Coast wins for Tim.
Same.
Yeah. Just because he helped me find that stat twice. The second time he didn't even need to find it, and he went and found it to show me a screenshot. So, thanks,
Shout
Tim.
out, Tim. Before the end of the year's done, we'll figure out a way to get you on the podcast.
Yeah, we'll just sit you next to one of us. We're going to sit really close together and share a mic. Anyway, until next week, this has been The Back Pocket. Enjoy football.
Bye.
I'm sick of the South Australians and particularly the Corns family. I'm sick of the Corns family.
And if you want to cancel the intro once I've done it and make me do a different one, that's fine.
Sure.